Tasmania's fourth election in just 7 years has delivered another hung parliament. The Liberals have again won the most seats, but falling shy of a majority will be forced to negotiate with a largely progressive crossbench to try to form government. After triggering the early election with a no-confidence motion against Liberal Premier Jeremy Rockliff, Labor appears to have suffered a voter backlash and is likely to have recorded its lowest primary vote in more than a century. But Labor leader Dean Winter is defiant and isn't ruling out trying to govern with crossbench support. Here's state political reporter Adam Langenberg.
To a hero's welcome, Jeremy Rockliff once again claimed victory after winning the most seats but falling short of a majority.
But I intend to visit the Governor and ask her to recommission my government so we can get on with the job for Tasmania.
Counting is continuing, but so far the makeup is nearly the same as last election. The Liberals have won 14 seats, Labor 9. There are 5 Greens and 4 Independents: Craig Garland, David O'Byrne, Peter George and Christy Johnston. There are 3 seats still in doubt. Despite a drop in support,
this is the worst Labor Party vote in Tasmania ever.
The Labor leader didn't concede defeat.
If the Liberals are unable to form a government, another election is not an option.
Saying he'll try to become Premier with the support of the Greens and Progressive Independents if Mr Rockliff won't, even if the party holds just 10 seats.
Labor wants to be in government and we want to deliver a Labor agenda. I'm genuinely concerned about the approach that Jeremy Rockliff has taken.
Both leaders have started trying to woo the crossbench.
I've reached out to the potential crossbench members today.
We've opened a line of discussion with the crossbench and we'll make sure that they understand where we stand, but we're not going to be horse trading on policy.
But the Labor leader is yet to pick up the phone to the Greens, despite needing them on board.
I've been clear with Tasmanians before this election that I won't be doing any deals with the Greens, and I'm not going to change that.
I remain entirely optimistic about the opportunity of having conversations with Dean Winter and Labor, because I know that the Greens and Labor fundamentally share far more in common than we have differences.
There are new faces to negotiate with. Independent Peter George in Franklin, and potentially shooters, fishers and farmers candidate Carlo DeFalco, who is in front in Lyons.
I'll work with whoever can provide my constituents the best outcome. So politics is always about horse trading.
There are also more familiar faces to work with.
And like I've said right from the outset, I put my hand out to work in a collaborative manner with the government, and that's what I'll be continuing to do so if I get re-elected.
The question of who will form government will take some time to resolve, with a 2-week wait for postal votes before the final makeup of Parliament is known. Adam Langenberg, ABC News.
There are 3 seats left in doubt in state parliament, with counting set to continue for the next fortnight. Here's our chief elections analyst, Casey Briggs.
In Sunday's counting, we got the first preferences from most of the remaining pre-poll votes. And that has shored up independent David O'Byrne's position in Franklin. So we're now confident that he will be re-elected. In Franklin, Labor's likely but not guaranteed to win a second seat as well. And there are 2 other seats still in doubt. In Lyons, a shooters, fishers and farmers candidate is currently ahead for the final seat, while in Bass, it's much harder to pick a favourite. So with 2 still in doubt, we're looking at a chamber with 14 Liberal members, 10 Labor members, 5 Greens and 4 Independents. Sound familiar? Well, these are very similar numbers to the Parliament that was elected last year. But back then, it was more straightforward for the Liberals to form government. They secured a confidence and supply agreement with the Jackie Lambie Network's 3 MPs, but they were all defeated last night. As I said, the number of MPs on the Conservative side may yet grow, but even if Jeremy Rockliff can count on those 2 votes still in doubt, he'd need to get at least 2 of these 4 independents on side. And 2 of them voted no confidence in him a matter of weeks ago. He wants to test his support on the floor of Parliament. But if Labor can get a handful of independents on its side and can rely on the Greens to back them, with or without a formal deal, the Parliament may reject Jeremy Rockliff continuing as Premier. And if that happens, the question will be, what kind of government that Dean Winter and Labor look to form, and whether they can keep it together for 4 years.
Casey Briggs reporting there. Well, state political reporter Adam Langenberg joins us now. Adam, what is the Liberals' potential path to power?
Guy, that pathway revolves around winning a 4th seat in Bass, which would take the party's total to 15. They'd then get to work on the crossbench, starting with Carlo De Falco in Lyons if he picks up that seat. They'd then look to work with 2 of the remaining 4 crossbenchers. The ones that they'd start with are probably David O'Byrne, who had a confidence and supply deal with Jeremy Rockliff's government that he signed just last year. He is a former Labor MP and has had conversations with Dean Winter already, but he says he's open to working with either side of politics. And then there's Craig Garland in Braddon, who voted for the no confidence motion in Mr Rockliff's government and didn't sign a supply and confidence deal last time around. But this time he says he's open to signing a deal and working with the Liberals if required. And then there's Peter George, a newcomer to state parliament, the independent Franklin MP. He says he's open to working with either side of politics as well.
So, Adam, how could Labor form government without doing a deal with the Greens?
Guy, they can't form government without the support of the Greens. There's just not enough members of the crossbench. They need 8 extra votes, and so 5 of those do have to come from the Greens. But Labor will argue that a formal deal isn't required. The way that Dean Winter could become Premier is that there's a vote of no confidence in Jeremy Rockliff's leadership again on the floor of Parliament, and then a vote of confidence in a government led by Dean Winter here in State Parliament. That would lead Labor to say that they haven't broken that promise they've made many times during the campaign about doing no deals with the Greens. If they do get the support of the Greens and lock that in, there's 15 MPs with Labor and the Greens combined. They then get to work on the crossbench, which is overwhelmingly progressive this time around, and they need to get 3 members on board, just like the Liberals might do if they secure that 4th seat in Bass. But there's still a lot of water to go under the bridge and a lot of work for the major party leaders to go to convince the crossbench that they've got the plan to keep the parliament together for a long time to come.
Adam Langenberg, still much to play out. Thank you. The proposed Macquarie Point Stadium was a defining issue at this election. While pro-stadium parties have won the majority of seats, the controversial development is still opposed by most crossbench independents, whose support will be needed for either major party to form government.
Not yet built, but nonetheless looming large. The Labor and Liberal leaders pledging to work collaboratively with the new Parliament, but not budging on their support for building a new stadium in Hobart.
We haven't changed our position on the stadium, and we won't be offering that as part of any negotiations.
I won't be abandoning my plans for the stadium, and we have a Labor Party that also supports the stadium.
With both major parties being pro-stadium, there'll be enough votes to get approval for the project through the Parliament's lower house. But first, either side will need to form government, and they'll need to win over anti-stadium crossbenchers to do that.
It'll come down to whether crossbenchers see a change in policy around the stadium as being a condition for their support. The other issue, is how would the enabling legislation fare in the upper house? That's still an unknown, wasn't even tested before the election.
If you're looking at a referendum on the stadium, it shows that 70% of Tasmanians want the stadium. Tasmanians have voted. We'd expect Parliament to respect that and to just get on with the job.
The Tasmania Football Club says it's ready to work with the incoming government once the election results become clearer. It says it's focused on entering the league in 2028 and building the club, adding there's no time to lose. Alexandra Alvaro, ABC News.